time in our country when making something as simple as an overseas call took days. Today, making an overseas call instantly to any part of the globe is in your hands and at your convenience. The technological advances our country has made opened many new avenues for learning, leisure, communicating and conducting business. These advances embody the transformation Guyana is undergoing. With 8 years of consecutive growth and an expanding economy, Guyana has become a shining example in this part of the world. Guyana has recorded a 1,000% increase in its gross domestic product, almost a 700% increase in the national budget, and over 1,100% increase in the minimum wage. All positive indications of our country moving from being a highly indebted poor country to a middle-income developing country within the last 22 years. Confidence in the country and the economy continues to be demonstrated through numerous local and foreign investments and the expansion of local businesses. A brighter and better future is being built as Guyana blooms.
The right to healthcare belongs to every Guyanese. 22 years ago, the provision of primary healthcare was primitive and inadequate. Today, Guyanese can access free healthcare services from more than 350 new and refurbished facilities across the country. Life-saving heart surgeries, cancer treatment and organ transplants are now done at major hospitals in Guyana. And significant advances have been made to reduce child mortality, improve maternal health and reduce the incidences of HIV/AIDS and non-communicable diseases. Now, any HIV-positive pregnant woman can access antiretroviral treatment. This purposeful investment pursued by government has seen the establishment of the historic state-of-the-art National Ophthalmology Hospital, the first of its kind in the Caribbean. This facility offers eye care services free of cost to all Guyanese, vastly reducing the need for overseas interventions. These meaningful interventions continue to be made for the provision of modern primary health care as Guyana blooms.
I believe I can.
I believe.
I will.
I believe.
I know my dreams are real. I believe I can.
I believe. I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe in a united Guyana.
I believe in Guyana and I believe in you.
I believe in Guyana. I believe in you.
That is what I do believe.
Good evening and welcome to Square Talk. It's the 7th day of April 2014, and indeed today being a historic day in the 2015 calendar, nomination day 2015, as we prepare for general and regional elections on May 11, 2015. There are several political parties contesting the general and national elections. Today presented to the Guyana Elections Commission their list of candidates in 3 categories: national top-up, geographic list, and for the regional list covering the 10 regional democratic councils of the 10 geographic areas across Guyana. And then we had the 2 main political parties, if anyone were to consider or to apply any seriousness to these elections, it will boil down definitely to 2 main political parties: the APNU plus AFC coalition, very much a troubled collection of people, and the People's Progressive Party Civic, of course, as well, presenting their list today. And the PPPC went ahead of the APNU plus AFC and, of course, presented what it called the winning list, a list which presented to the Guyana Elections Commission, and you have a blend of maturity and experience, youth and women, and certainly a list that has a geographic spread and a list that has reflective of the various groups in society and interests in society. And so indeed, a very impressive list of candidates presented by the People's Progressive Party Civic, and some of the new faces coming on to the list: Clinton Erling, businessman; Africa Selman, as you are aware, she recently abandoned the APNU AFC coalition, citing mistreatment and abuse, among other things, from that group. And we have several other names. Sixtus Edwards, who the former General Secretary of the People's Progressive Parties, of the AFC, and he is on the PPPC's list of candidates on the national top-up. And also we have several other, Roshini Budu, a broadcaster, and others who are on the list, several new persons, doctors, young professionals, lawyers, businessmen, and others on the list of the People's Progressive Party Civic. On the other hand, the usual suspects dominated the list for APNU AFC. As you're aware, during the coalition of the party, it was just a mere deal for positions. And today, the list definitely reflects the fact that this was all about trading deals for positions for those who are most preoccupied with power. And so you have the usual suspects, Nigel Hughes and his wife on the list. You have several other members of the coalition on the list, negotiated positions, and what it would all appear to be that this is just about people getting positions. And we saw on the list as well, coming on, Richard Van West Charles, Baby Jesus, Burnham's son-in-law. Tell you the Burnhamite era is still alive in the PNC. David Granger, first of all, the lead actor of the Burnham's era and the true PNC altogether. So, my friends, what was really surprising, despite the opposition making claim to their attempt to be peaceful and to be disciplined, today at City Hall, as they attempted to present, or they presented a list of candidates to the Guyana Elections Commission, those who were in the crowd tried to break down the gate at City Hall. In fact, they did gain entry into the compound, and they behaved in the most vulgar manner you could imagine. So they pushed down the gate today again at City Hall. The second stretch, the 2011 elections, we saw similar behavior, and though the opposition tried to deny that any such behavior existed, the tapes told the story. And today we saw similar type of behavior. And what was even worse is that in and around the time of those people marching down from the Square of the Revolution, I understand that several persons were robbed along Regent Street, and the businessmen were very fearful and quickly shut up their shops. Now, this can't be anything that gives you comfort. Why in this day and age one has to be fearful of a group of opposition members whenever they tramp down the street? And though they claim that they are a party seeking unity and seeking to bring all of our Guyanese people together, on the other hand, in their actions, you see something different. And this is what I keep saying all along. It is a group of people that cannot be trusted. Cannot be trusted one moment. They say something and they do something else. It is the same group of people that existed before as the PNC and today as the PNC APNU. The same David Granger, the same Basil Williams, the same Winston Felix, the same Joseph Harmon, the same Amna Ali, the same of every one of them existed before, created the atrocities we experience in our lifetime under the PNC, and today They pretend and try to disguise in all sorts of form, only for the sake of seeking power. And if they ever do get that power, you then see the true sides of them, the true side of them. But even outside of getting the power, it is hard for them to suppress this type of behavior they're known for. The bullyism, the behavior that seeks to harass and intimidate and abuse people, as we see continuously from among those who are part of the opposition. Today, they made it their duty to taunt and to interfere with those of us who participated in the PPPC's parade for nomination day. And it is really, really mind-boggling that you would have an opposition behave in this manner. Why is it we should ever trust the AFC, APNU, when everything they have said have all been either lies, distortions, misrepresentations, and certainly different from everything that they claim they will and will not do. So it is about who you can trust. And certainly you can't trust the PNC, APNU, AFC, because they are not to be trusted, simply not to be trusted. So my friends, of course, I'll be taking you through tonight's program, and of course you'll have an opportunity to come through the telephone lines and you will be able to give your contributions very shortly. I just want to say as well that the list that they presented was not just only about the usual suspects. And you will recall many weeks ago, they claimed that they had many people from the People's Progressive Party, inclusive from the cabinet, who was going to be coming over to the coalition and who were going to be part of their campaign. We saw none of that today. So certainly they tried to lie all along and to mislead us all along. And so very well, my friends, we know of the opposition and the fact that they cannot be trusted. I'll open up the telephone lines. I'll give you, the viewers, an opportunity to make your contributions on many of the matters I raised. And of course, I would like to thank the thousands of persons who participated in the PPPC's parade today, procession, as it presented its list of candidates for the 2015 general and regional elections. I'll open up the telephone line, and we have a caller here on the line. Good evening. Wow, missed that one. All right, 226-3310 is the number to call. We have a caller here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
I'm calling from Happy Acres on the East Coast.
Yes.
Okay, they built one road in Happy Acres and left for four. Only Nandagopal Road built in Happy Acres, straight to Tech Nandagopal. You know what they're doing with the rest?
Well, I am not familiar with all of the road works. I am aware, though, that throughout the East Coast, the monies have been allocated for the construction and rehabilitation of roads. And so there are many roads that have been undertaken along the East Coast of Demerara, and still there are some outstanding contracts, I believe, for roads, and I will probably have to endeavor to find out specifically about Happy Acre. All right?
And one more thing. Since November, the garbage truck come in Happy Acre and the staff come and not...
You have an NDC there?
Yeah, where we call and if we could move it yourself, it's going to be better for them.
Well, I'd have to find out about that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Open it.
All right, good. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our views across the country. All right, we have another caller here on the line. Yes, good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Yeah.
You forget that you was a ornament?
Sorry?
You forgot when you were a ornament?
Sir, you are absolutely mistaken. Absolutely, completely mistaken. For once, and for at any moment, I was never part of the PNC. I was never a Burnhamite. So I don't know where you got that information from, but whoever set you up, you've certainly taken the bait and you are absolutely incorrect. Thank you very much. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our views across the country. And of course, we have another caller here on the line. Yes, good evening.
Hello, good night.
Yes, good night.
Look, I just want to draw your attention to something. Not too long ago, I saw the chairman for the election commission shaking Mr. Green hand and congratulating him for the use of the city hall. I want to say that it was Mr. Green and the council called Chase Green who opposed the town plan in the council, saying that they don't think that they should have anything there because the structure don't fit for that type of thing. But what I want to say is that the PPPC delegated encourage is a disciplined set of people. They let the other persons going who were supposed to go. And these people didn't satisfy. They pushed the police one side and they went on the desk. These kind of people we want to run this government. I don't think so. These people are just, on principle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming through, caller. Thank you very much. I did remember the opposing of the use of the City Hall for the nomination day activities by the Hamilton Green Cabal. So the caller is correct on that point. And of course, what else do you expect? I'm sure it is not anything that is totally strange to you that you would have this type of behavior from, well, in fact, coming from the mayor and his cabal, and indeed, certainly anything that attempts to take us along the line of progression, they oppose. So it's nothing new, and in fact, you're correct. If these are the people who run the city, we have an example of the APNU, PNC, running the city and the terrible job they are doing, and indeed it is very much not encouraging for, well, indeed it's very much a lesson for us in terms of their incapability and the fact that they cannot run anything. We have seen them in the past, and Hamilton Green is an example of how good they are at management. All right? Good evening.
Hi, good evening to you, Mr. Tommy.
Yes.
We were up at it week, Good Friday, and we put up some PPP signs at a set free. And today we got a phone call saying that people hit it down, like take it down. So we was just wanting to know if we have to interrupt with other political flags too, because people are taking down our party flags. So we want to know if we have to take down other party flags.
I would advocate that we go tit for tat. What I will say for sure is that we have many examples of this occurring around the country, where we are putting up our flags and our posters and our billboards, and the opposition operatives are removing them, either pacing over them, tearing them down, and defacing them altogether. And I think that you just need to give me the information after the call, after the program. I will try to make contact with you if we get a specific place, and we'll have to write the Guyana Elections Commission and to alert them about this type of behavior, because there's a code of conduct which the political parties are or at least outside of a code of conduct, we were expected to conduct ourselves in a particular way. And this has been the type of, but you know what? This type of behavior comes from a mentality of bullyism. power. They want to bully people, and they must have the only and the last say. And these are the signs of dictators.
Okay.
That there's only one set of people thing, only their stuff must be up. Anything that challenges them, competes with them, disfavors them, must be taken out and wiped out. And this is what they did in the past. It is a new form of the dictatorship behavior, and certainly an entrenched dictatorial behavior. And that's why I keep saying you can't trust them, because the minute they are allowed to get their own way, or they're allowed into government, then we will see the true side of those who call themselves the APNU AFC coalition. And this is what we need to guard against. We must have tolerance in the society for everyone's ideas, tolerance for competition, tolerance for opinions, tolerance for point of views, and not to believe that we have a monopoly on any of those things. And so the opposition need to desist from this type of behavior. They've done it in the past. Repeatedly they continue to do it. It is the same thing they did all along in the past. They repeat it today. Broke down the gate at City Hall and stormed the compound.
But it's not fair. We're not interfering with them. Why did they interfere with our stuff?
My friend, it is just the nature of the beast. Just the nature of the beast. Thank you very much for coming through, and I do appreciate you bringing that to our attention. All right?
Want me to make contact with you after the program?
Thank you. Yes. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our views across the country. And we have another caller here in the line. Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Kwame.
Yes.
I'm enjoying your program.
Thank you.
It's so good.
All right. Are you set for the May 11 elections?
Yeah, we're ready.
You're ready. Good. So I gather that that includes you and your family and others.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Anyhow, Kwame, I want to ask one thing, son. In the past, government in the past, $40,000 for pensioners.
Sorry?
$40,000 GPS for pensioners.
I can't hear you.
In the past, government in the past, $30,000 for pensioners. For GPS.
20.
30.
Was 30? I can't remember. Okay.
The bill was for last year. It was 20, and from last year it's 30.
Yeah.
You know, for the year I didn't get it as yet, son.
All right. Listen, I have your number here. We'll try to call you back and I'll deal with it. All right?
Thank you so much, and you enjoy the rest, and we hope for the best future.
Thank you very much. Okay. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our views across the country. And we have here another caller on the line. Let's see what this caller has to say. Yes, good evening. Hello? Hello? All right, so we missed that one. So, yes, we have here another caller. Good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
All people you get paid for calling and support you.
Sorry?
You hear me?
If what?
All people you get paid to call in for support you.
How many people I got to call in to support me?
Yeah. And the next thing.
Well, I'm not sure that I...
Next thing you get a bishop next to you anymore. The man who said, if Jesus Christ was to vote...
He is in the fields, as I understand it, working very hard to bring home the prize, like we all doing. And the thing is that I don't prompt anyone to call this program. All right? People call very freely at their own volition, on their own time. And if the lines are available, they come through. All right? 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue. Yes?
You don't want to answer the girl, but I got to answer the girl. That's what the bride said. You got some asses. Take their asses too. You take them, we be beaten. We got to take them things down too. Listen, they don't want to bully me or bully nobody. They all start do the same thing when we do. We take too much bully with a stupidness. I had a party all day. You want to go to the back because me want to go to the back. You can tell me I must pray for PPP when. Me not pray for PPP when I don't know PPP when in.
Yeah.
Right? And I can vote for who I want to vote for because I the guy needs and nobody can stop me.
All right. Thank you very much for coming through.
One more thing I want to say. With Joey Johnson talk about Barrett, they always play on hot because if he didn't have a sweet enough for mine, he would have got
All right.
there.
All right, we don't need to get there. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming through. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our viewers across the country. And we have another caller here on the line. Yes, good evening.
Hello, good night,
Good night.
Kwame.
Yes.
What Joseph when I was looking at the nomination, he is one should shame to go on the national television for talk about politics. He and Paul Greenwich, they need to put in a barrel and roll in the sea and lock it and throw it away. That means shame and disgrace to this country.
Okay.
And I was looking at Mr. Granger was talking about Barrett. He can't step his foot in Barrett's shoe.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming through.
Because your fast is around the place.
Thank you very much for coming through, caller. Thank you very much for coming through and your contribution. You know, it is the same usual suspects. Winston Felix, the worst commissioner of police, on the APNU PNC AFC list of candidates. And of course, they are proposing him to be the Home Affairs Minister. So, a man who certainly, allegedly, you recall the telephone conversation, made plans to plant drugs on a female passenger going through the Cheddi Jagan International Airport. Carl Greenwich, the worst finance minister in the history of Guyana, proposed as finance minister. My friends, you've got to be kidding. The usual suspects, Nigel Hughes on the APNU AFC list, someone who is implicated in so many things, is on the list with his wife Cathy Hughes, no different, of course. And there are so many of the other usual suspects on the APNU AFC coalition list. Good evening.
Are you calling?
Yes?
Good evening. I need to know one thing. Is Clyde Jagan on the PP's list?
Yes, Clive Jagan is on the list.
Something is wrong there. Something is absolutely wrong there.
Sorry?
I said something is wrong there, and I'll tell you why. On Sunday when we had the meeting, they rally at City, right? I met him. I said, Clyde, what has happened to your cousins? Why are they so negative towards Barrett and CVP? He said, why don't you think they should not be negative, right? And I said, but you know, Ralph Kuran and those guys spoke a lot of nonsense, right? And they misinterpreted what Ralph said. I said, it's wrong. I mean, you know what a guy told me? He told me I'm illiterate. I said, end of
All right, listen, we don't need to get down there, please. I'm sure what Clive was trying to say is that people have their views. And if their view is all construed to be negative, that's it. They have their views, he has his views, he's on the PPP list. Let's look forward. All right? Let's look forward. We have an elections to win. You need to be focused with us, and I'm sure you are. I don't think we need to make any mounting out of that little mold. All right? So, sorry?
I said, I'm taking your point. The other point I'd like to make is simply this. I am so happy. I am overwhelmed by the fact that Barrett is on the list.
Okay.
I'm very, very happy.
Right. Well, you know, initially he said that he had no interest, but then with the petitions from across the country demanding that he has a role in these elections, and so his name was considered and put onto the list.
Totally fantastic.
Right.
I'm very, very happy.
I know so many people are related to have him on the list.
I'm very, very happy.
All right?
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming through. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our viewers across the country. We have another caller here in the line. Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
We had enough of the PPP.
You had enough? Okay. That's all right if you had enough. But there are many other people who would like more of the PPP, and that's why you saw today that thousands of Guyanese rallied behind the PPP as the procession made its way to City Hall to present the winning list for the 2015 general and regional elections. There are many people who still want to have more of the PPP, confident of its ability to continue progress, to take us along a road of success, and to take us along the road of development. There are many other people who would like the PPP because they see the PPP as their only savior. Unlike the PNC APNU, joined with the AFC, who are a bunch of power-hungry people, a bunch of inexperienced people. Their experiences certainly have not been for the good of this country. Their experiences have brought us atrocities after atrocities. Even when they're in the opposition, while they were in government, the David Grangers, who existed in the period of the PNC, in the Burnham and the Hoyt period, that took us through many of the atrocities we saw, was the hingeman for the PNC in the army. And so many people see the PPP as their savior because they don't want to go back to those dark days of the PNC, now called itself APNU. And so, yes, you are in a minority group, unfortunately. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
I'm also very pleased to hear Mr. Jack Dale has joined the list.
Yes.
And it's very fortunate for Guyana. We need an economist with a vision.
Yes.
Also, I think that Mr. Irvin Curling, the head of the
Clinton Erling, yes.
Yes. His conclusive statement is that the PPP has the best qualified people to lead Guyana to economic development. And this is a fact. In the Bible it is said that my people are destroyed because of a lack of education, knowledge. And the other party that we know of, there are a lot of dull people there who go about in the street with violence and with corruption as their way of assuming power through bullyism, whatever. But Guyanese should open their eyes and they should learn. If you don't look at the history, especially for the young people I'm speaking to, if they don't look at their history, you will be doomed to repeat it. Look at these facts. For 28 years, the PNC ruled and they dragged Guyana from the breadbasket of the West Indies to the beggar bowl. And the PPP for 22 years lifted Guyana from that deplorable condition to a place where Guyanese are able to use their money and buy anything they want. There are so many different freedoms. You can travel with your own money. You can open businesses. There are things in the stores to purchase. The children and who grew up after the PNC's rule should understand truth, looking at history. Facts are the basis for truth. Truth should not be something that you hear again and again and believe. Look at the facts of both parties. Their rule and the PPP's rule of recent times. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. I don't know that I can add much more to that. A very instructive contribution, indeed, loaded with some history and, in fact, helping us to look forward to the future and recognize that the better option is the People's Progressive Party, Cedric. And I thank you very much. And you know why that is important, even more important, is because it's not like the PNC ruled for 5 years or 10 years. 28 years of misrule, of torment, of misery, of hopelessness, of deprivation, of deplorable conditions, of nothing positive happening for Guyana during those years. It was all about just a few people that benefited at that time. And certainly those who existed then were part of creating the atrocities, were part of presiding over the mismanagement, the unaccountability, the lack of transparency during those years, are the very people who are today seeking to take us, well, seeking power, seeking to come into government. And the fact of the matter is that you can't trust these people because they've been there, they've done that. And while they pretend they change, we see no evidence of that. And even if you disbelieve what I said about the 28 years, we see evidence of their behavior of recent. We've seen them throw down the gates. Only today at City Hall, we've seen them done it in the 2011 elections. We've seen them made efforts to stymie development in this country when they were in government. In the opposition during the 10th Parliament, the same type of behavior they displayed. Many of the things we saw them did then, and even if you wanted to believe that they were changed, they could hardly suppress their characteristics of bully, the characteristics they're made up of. Bullyism, intimidating people, threatening people, abusing people. Today they made a gentleman from Berbice, found him in a corner walking by himself and stripped him of a PPP jersey that he had on. They went to City Hall to create mischief today. But thank God the PPP people didn't take them on because they didn't worth our attention. We were there to celebrate a winning list, the presentation of a winning list after hard work of putting it together, and to support our candidates in taking this list forward. And so we didn't have time. Our valuable time was certainly not to be loaned to these hooligans and so forth. So, my friends, I'll continue to take your calls. We have another caller here on the line. Yes, good evening. Hello? Yes?
Hold on, I'm just from church.
Sorry?
Just hold it for me.
What is that?
Hold on, just hold it for me. Just for me.
Yes.
For me, these people don't understand what it takes in this country. I like say these people like to me up on the TV to tell them what it takes place. People like the blind. They're totally blind. They don't see what people do in this country. They never see nothing like this Negro, Armenian, East Indian for me. I tell you, what other people do for over this time since they take over and the power? I see so much good things in this country. I like them don't see. I like to come on TV and tell some, they call it crap dog.
All right. we don't have to be that graphic.
Because the PNU, I say, But things range all them attack madness. Them attack madness and tell these people in Barbies, SQ want something, they want for them people is too stupid. Them people are just stupid.
I wouldn't say that, you know. I wouldn't say. I would say that some people are misguided. Come on. We need to continue to let them know our message. We need to tell them our message. We need to remind them where we were and where we are today. Some people forget easily too. So we need to work with people to remind them about many of the things you've spoken about in other calls. All right? Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming through, and thank you for your contribution.
I'm glad for come and talk certain things because not enough of them like they understand, like they're blind and dumb and deaf.
Okay.
Aquaman.
Thank you. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our viewers across the country. We have another caller here in the line. Yes, good evening.
Yes, Kwame, but it's me again, son. You know what I want to say? These people ain't blind. They're deaf and they're dumb both. You know why? Because all the hospitals are breaking down, all the schools are breaking down, the roads going, we wouldn't get to have to pay the bills, we wasn't getting water, we had to get water miles away. What really happened? If the bill is fail, you see its progress, but they did check in, not fail, they did check in, and no progress. Country was right down. Down when you want a job, you have to sign the case before getting a job.
Okay.
I had to send my kids them over because they have to join it. You have to go and rally and do this and go in the national service and everything. And you have nothing to get. The one who doesn't have not anything is at the top. And the one who has something always has to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because they were in power. So these people, they want more than that. People must fill their basket. And they must not work. They want to sit and get this.
All right. Thank you very much for coming through, caller. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to take calls from our viewers across the country. Yes, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
I'm okay.
Well, you know what I want to do?
I have no idea.
You don't have my number there?
Sorry?
You have my number there?
Yes.
Good. I'd like to make a contribution to what you're doing.
Yes, go ahead.
Very nice. What you're doing.
Thank you.
So I need you to behave yourself and look and see what's going on. Know what nobody's saying. You just take care of your party and be good for them. Good news.
Okay. Thank you very much for the
Very nice.
for the encouragement. Thank you very much. 226-3310 is the number to call, and we will continue to take your calls. And we have another caller here on the line. Yes, good evening.
Hey, good evening, sir.
Yes.
Very much appreciate government part that all of the people saying that they're blind. And I really feel that they know just people that want seriously doing things. I don't feel they're very much comfortable.
Yes? Hello? You're trying to listen to yourself at the same time, and I'm not hearing you clearly. There's a feedback somehow. You need to turn down the television.
Yeah. And the gentleman told you about we from the one just now. I'm very much appreciative what he said.
Okay.
And not just to go down and say that the gentleman was always talking something very positive. That these people are very much blind.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming through. All right, 226-3310 is the number to call, and we'll continue to take your calls, and we have another caller here. Yes, good evening.
Hey, good night, Colin.
Good night.
I don't think we're going to pay attention. You see, these things that get very soon. And there is like that Indian voting race and Indian voting race. You know, recall in 1992 when we expect the me, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you say for the Kisuna and that's in the Indian and Brooklyn areas, what will PNC do? When everybody thinks, sir, it's time to get rid of these dictators. They still get 43% of the vote in 1992. And telling people, Indian people, that trust these people, vote for them back. That's me.
All right. Thank you very much for coming through. 226-3310 is the number to call. Let's continue to listen to our viewers across the country. And we seem to have another caller here on the line. Good evening. Hello? Good evening. All right, we've missed that call. Okay, so I'll probably be able to take about 2 more calls before we exit on tonight's program. We have another caller. Yes, good evening. Good evening. All right, good. So when you looked at the PPPC's list today of candidates for the 2015 general and regional elections, of course, a team of experience and maturity and youth and women and tested and proven individuals, and certainly all intended for the purpose of ensuring that we continue with the progress and development come after the May 11th elections. And so, indeed, we have a very excellent team presented on a list, both for the regional and the top-up and the geographic lists we presented today. All right? Good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Kwame.
Yes, good evening.
Mr. Kwame, you see them people cut the budget and now they want to bring back the females?
And they want to what?
The school children's budget where they cut. And the money and we used to get, what the government used to give them. Now they have cut the budget, now they want to give them good names, so they want to give back the children their money and the food and
yeah.
You see the people on after school?
Yeah, good observation. That's a
You
good
have the region paper in your Chicago rally. Now they're telling us people say yes, they will give them the grant and give them school clothes and give them food and.
Yet still they're trying to cut it from the budget when we attempt to give it.
Yes.
And so the point I keep making is that those from the opposition cannot be trusted. This business is about trust. They cannot be trusted, my friend.
Never.
If you look at everything they have done, what they have said, and what they have done, you will see it's a mismatch. It doesn't correspond. What they say and what they do. And they tell you one thing, they do something else. They say something today and they change tomorrow. And by next week, they have a different version. Thank you very much for coming through. All right, so you can't trust those in the opposition. They flip-flop. Look at Mr. Granger. He squandered an opportunity to support the Amila Hydro project 3 years ago. Today, we could have had the hydro project almost in full operation, bringing the benefits to the people of Guyana, lowered electricity costs, and of course, reliable energy. And the thing is, suddenly for the purposes of elections, he is promising everything. He will suddenly support Amila Falls. And this is the type of dishonesty that comes from the opposition and cause us not to be able to trust their word. You can't trust them. You can't trust them at any moment because they are desperate in the first place. They will say anything. They may do anything. And for the certainty of us continuing along the lines of progress and development, it means that we have to support and re-elect the People's Progressive Party Civic. I'll take this last call. Good evening.
Hi, Connie. Good night.
Good night.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Not bad.
When you look at Mr. Granger properly, look at his face, when he was talking about Dr. Jack Beale, that he's more or less a liability to the PPP, you can very well observe the threat. Basically, what I'm saying is that he's scared of Dr. Jack Beale because, he's a dynamic guy.
They're all scared of him.
Yeah, they're scared of him.
They don't like the sight of him.
showed evidence that he was indeed a leader. All right? And when you follow the history of Dr. Jack Beale, he's so dynamic that I would even want to believe, we all know Dr. Jagan was the founder and so on, but this guy executes his work so well, in terms of development. So that is one of the reasons why they're scared of him, because the guy knows how to do things, He's a very, very powerful guy. And he's blessed. As old people say, who God bless, no man curse, right? People like Granger and Felix and so on, when you really look at these guys, excuse me saying, they're fake. They're very much, Anyhow, that's my contribution, but what I know, the PPP won't get it outright. But what we need to do is to come out and you have one or two people who are very lackadaisical, try to sensitize them and let them understand the importance in coming out and vote.
Yes.
Alright?
Okay.
But what I want to say finally, we are going to be victorious, and the APN, we all know what is the problem. In their heart and soul, they know exactly what they did is because of a personal whatever. Alright?
Yes.
But anyhow, Kwame, all the best to you and, of course, our people.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for those inspirational words. And indeed, the support today is demonstrative of the support for the PPP Civic and its quest for the continuing along the lines of progress and development. And I am absolutely confident that the majority of Guyanese would be supporting us and taking us to the next 5 years of the PPP Civic administration. And watch out for the lies, the Starbuck News and the Kaichur News and the others, who will, over the next few weeks, become so desperate that they may do anything. And so we have to be watchful, and we have to be focused, and we have to do our work, be all activists. Thank you very much, callers, for coming through this evening, and I thank you for your support and your contribution. And I'll see you next time. In the meantime, I'm Kwame McCoy saying good night and God bless you.
Guyana, with 83,000 square miles, is a land of vast bodies of water and huge expanses of land. Access becomes challenging with the absence of a network of roads. 22 years ago, the lives and livelihood of citizens were severely disrupted by treacherous seas as critical sea defenses were almost non-existent. Dilapidated bridges and roads impeded convenient and comfortable commute and inhibited access to opportunities for individual and national development. Today, Guyana boasts more than 2,500 kilometers of paved and unpaved roads, providing ready access to urban and rural areas. With approximately 145,000 vehicles on the roadways and 10,000 registered in less than a year, communities have been transformed and lives and livelihoods enhanced. After decades of neglect prior to 1992, the now fully paved Supernam to Charity Road in Essequibo is the impetus for the transformation and modernization of Guyana's largest county. The commitment to Guyana's infrastructural development so that lives can be positively enhanced is evident through the investments in the 4-lane highway from Rheinfeldt to Providence, and extensions to Diamond and along the East Coast corridor have greatly reduced traffic congestion. Safety and security have also been boosted with the installation of streetlights on all major thoroughfares, and the newly built farm-to-market roads have vastly increased related investments while allowing for ease of convenience of easy and timely delivery of perishables and other produce. The construction of the much-needed Berbice Bridge now allows for real-time travel by removing the extended wait of the ferry service. The time saved is both valuable and meaningfully utilized. The continuous works to extend and maintain the life of the iconic Demerara Harbor Bridge, the building of new wharves and upgrading of others, and the addition of 2 modern ferries have seen Guyanese benefiting from faster and more convenient ways of reaching the city. The linking of Guyana and Brazil through the Takatu Bridge and the establishment of a ferry service with Suriname ensures robust trade and tourism with our continental neighbors. The modernization of the Chetty Jagan International Airport, the upgrading of the Ogu Aerodrome to an international airport, development of hinterland airstrips, and the arrival of new airlines have set Guyana on a path to becoming a major hub for increased trade and investment with other nations. The scope of government's prudent oversight and continuous investments in the overall development of Guyana's infrastructure and transport systems is proving invaluable to the citizens as Guyana blooms.